What's going on, everyone? It's the Misc. Welcome back to Danganronpa V3. Now that we have finished everyone's social links between Kaede and Shuichi, it is finally time to talk about what happens after you beat the game, and what you get as a result of that. We'll also be tackling a few miscellaneous topics that I couldn't talk about until the game was finished, as well as a few things I missed during the initial playthrough. So now that we've solved the mystery, let's tackle what we get afterwards. When you load up your save file, you will see a brand new mode has shown itself to you. Ultimate Talent Development Plan. This minigame is what happens when you combine Danganronpa with a board game. Roll your dice, move your spaces, meet with other students, view special events, and upgrade your student as you take them through their 3 years at Hope's Peak Academy. Choose a student and do your best to create the perfect ultimate student. This is a fun minigame, where future prepping is the name of the game. As you progress, you obtain different fragments to purchase different skills. Your stats will gradually increase as you progress and land on the proper spaces. This game can get extremely complex while trying to create a character with great stats and moves. On the flip side, if you love the characters of Danganronpa, this will be a dream come true, because finally, we have a scenario where old characters can interact with the characters throughout the whole series. This was such a fun idea that they made a separate spin-off that is just this mode for Danganronpa's 10th anniversary. We'll talk more about this game in its own bonus. Now, all this stat building may seem a bit off since we're just playing a board game, but trust me, you're gonna need it. After beating Ultimate Talent Development Plan one time, you unlock the sister game, Despair Dungeon, Monokuma's Test. This is what those stats were for. Send your ultimates through school, upgrade them, then bring them here, because we have 50 plus floors of an old school RPG to get through. The complexity between these two games may be a little intimidating, but don't worry, we'll have a separate bonus for this one as well. If you're wondering why these last bonuses were taking so long, this and another difficult challenge were the reasons why. Bring your best ultimates, gear up, and conquer this RPG dungeon. Beat Monokuma at his own game. For something a little bit more fun and casual, try out Dangan Salmon Team! Love Across the Universe! This is what serves as V3's school mode, but without the busy work. You can work on your social links, take characters on dates, and maybe if you're lucky, you'll get lucky overnight if the planets align. All of this in the name of love and reality television. We'll talk more in depth about this one in a separate bonus. Good luck wooing your fellow ultimates. Just like the games before it, we also have an extras menu. This is where you will use your remaining Monokuma coins to buy every single thing from the game. You can buy events. If there was a specific event that you remember watching during the game, you can buy it here. You're gonna need a lot of coins. This is a good way to see your favorite moments, as previously mentioned. You won't see any subtitles, so it's just the scenes themselves. In the background, I'll be buying these, not all of them, but I'll buy a few. Trust me, all the numbers are going to be crazy by the end of this. Over in movies, that's self-explanatory. Any cutscene that was in the game, you can purchase those as well. These are the actual cutscenes and not just the still images that pan over left and right. You get to relive your favorite V3 moments. I personally love the opening transformation into the Ultimates, and if I ever want to see brutality, I can watch the punishments and the body discoveries. Over here in artwork, this is where you can find the designs for all your ultimates for V3. Pretty self-explanatory. If you ever wanted to cosplay these characters, this is a perfect guide. It'll show you the small complexities of all of their outfits. NIS America released a mini art book for the Day 1 edition of V3. This translates the design notes, plus gives profiles for each student. The sound gallery is a big old jukebox. You want to listen to your favorite song from V3? Buy it and listen. You know, now I'm curious, since there is now a Switch version since I've done the Let's Play, I wonder if you can do the thing that Smash Ultimate was doing, where you can play the game, put it in sleep mode, and listen to it while you have headphones in. I won't think about it too much, but yeah, this is where you can buy the entire soundtrack. The Mono Mono machine, if you have extra coins and you haven't gotten all the presents yet, throw those coins in that bad boy and try to get 100% completion. Surprisingly, it is easier to get newer items if you put in 1 coin at a time. This has been the case for every single Danganronpa game. 1 coin at a time. Do not put in 20 or more coins to get a perfect percentage. Trust me, it's easier to get the rest of them with 1 coin at a time. The remainder of the presents will come in due time. Complete the side games, buy everything, max out your social links, etc. I'll be sure to notate when special items show up when we get them. If you don't want to do trials over and over again, the easiest way to get mono coins is to load up a chapter and just slap everything to get coins out of them when you knock them out of the way. Speaking of blowing all your money, time to go to the casino. There are so many things to purchase here in the casino. They really want you to grind. We'll talk about the final amounts in the final bonus, but just know, in order to purchase everything here in the casino, you're going to need a little over 400,000 tokens! I've shown you in the initial Let's Play on how to get Boku to cash easily by playing 1 minigame on the hardest difficulty. Use that as the guide. You'll see here on screen which episode that is. Good luck. You're gonna need it. Now's your chance to be a big shot. Win big at the casino. The last section here in Extras is Intimacy Events. This is a first for Danganronpa. This is where you can rewatch all the different social links. I don't know why you have to purchase them again, but that's just the way the game is made. After you do every social link, you are able to buy the ranks again. You need to unlock everything between Kaede and Shuichi in order to purchase all of these. But way down at the bottom, you will notice there are some extra scenes. These are the bonus scenes that you can actually find throughout the main game. But even more secretive are 15 special scenes. See you at Hotel Kumasutra. You're going to be at this for quite a while if you're going for that 100%, so Godspeed. I've done it, I know you can do it too. So now that we've looked over everything that the game has to offer, I figured we'd go back through the game and check out any small details that I might have missed, or ones that need more context now that the game has been completed. Consider this the What We Missed segment, but for the entire game. In Chapter 1, if you look at the stained glass window behind Monokuma during the first trial, you notice how it's an odd texture? Well, it turns out we've seen that before. It's the CG for Sayaka and her idol group from Danganronpa 1. That's one way to reuse assets, I guess. During the LP, I edited out the mistakes, well, most of the mistakes I made while playing, but I never actually showed what happens when you get a game over. So here's game over for Shuichi and Kaede since we're still in Chapter 1.
Is there nothing else I can do? We won't give up!
Is this really the end?
The game spoils that Shuichi is going to take his hat off during the punishment roulette. It's a small mistake, but it's fun to see a tiny glimpse into the future. In Chapter 2, I noticed I hadn't looked at Kaede and Rantaro's doors, so here's what Shuichi has to say about those two. In Chapter 3, there is a joke during one of the ending bits of the class trial. No physical connection. And that got me curious. Is it the same joke in Japanese? It is. I was able to find a screenshot where they do the exact same gag. So I'm glad it's not North American only. Turns out I didn't have much for Chapter 4, so here's footage of Angie, Tenko's, and Kyo's door.
But...
Chapter 5 is the odd duck, and the one where most changes happened, but you wouldn't know that unless you dug deeper. So many CGs in this chapter were either redrawn or edited for one reason or another. The first three I want to show you were actually fixed when they came stateside during the localization. Here's before. Here's after. Here's Japanese. Here's North America. Shuichi has multiple flashbacks going back to Chapter 1. But the funny thing is, what he's remembering is different from the CGs that were actually in Chapter 1. Here's the comparison. And while we're in the realm of thinking about Chapter 1 again, here are some CGs that were slightly altered. These are used and unused examples. Chapter 6 is where we go completely off the rails into Bonkers Town. And I know a lot of you were curious if you happen to see Chapter 6, but there are different logos that are references to other media when talking about the history of Danganronpa. Here are the logos from the game, and here's what they're referencing. And now we'll be going into a few miscellaneous topics. These are just little bits and bobs that I thought, you know what, that would be kind of fun to look over. Throughout the game, you were able to lie during class trials, and your special truth bullets become lie bullets. I never actually took a look at what those truth bullets become when you lie with them. Some of them don't actually get a lie bullet in association, but here's all the lie bullets from the different chapters. Rantaro is a pretty secretive character, and pretty cool in my opinion. The developers thought so too, and they wanted to keep his death a secret. In promotional material, you can see Rantaro during a debate scrum. You can also see him in the trailer for Danganronpa V3, again, keeping his death a secret. There is plenty of unused content in the game, like the CGs I showed of Rantaro earlier. My personal favorites are some of the unused sprites. Some are unique, some look a bit odd, and then there's this. I'll leave it at that. Speaking of unused, here are unused sprites for Kaede's argument armament. This Rantaro sprite, this Mew sprite, and this Kaede sprite were all shown off in the official Japanese art book. And while on the topic of that art book, we have beta designs. This was a fun trip to go through, seeing how each character slowly evolved into the final design. Here are all the beta designs for all the characters. Danganronpa V3 had a demo that came out before the game, obviously, but did you know it's its own separate case? I've done a full playthrough, and I've linked it in the description, so if you want to see what actually changes, you can now take a look at it. Just know that somebody else dies in a very similar fashion to Danganronpa 1, and you also get to hang out with Hajime and Makoto. That's kinda cool. Spank Chunsoft, that name might sound familiar. They announced that they were taking over the publishing rights for Danganronpa on July 21st, 2020. 11 days after my Let's Play ended. After the transfer, there was a patch removing NIS America from the opening splash screens. They are still hiding on the opening screen, however. This patch also fixed the black screen save bug I mentioned in the LP, so that's cool. The Vita version did not get this final update. Vita's still getting the shaft all these years later. It's sad. I should mention that even though the PS4 version and the Vita version don't match the version numbers anymore, they still work for cross-save, so if you still want to play on your PS4 and then move your save file onto your Vita and keep playing that way, that still works. I have a few more topics I want to cover, but I think I'll save those for the final bonus when we talk about 100% and finally finishing this game once and for all. We still have a long way to go, but there's one thing I wanted to talk about. There are special endings that we missed in Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. The way to get these is to finish the impossible Death Road of Despair. I'm not kidding. There are separate endings behind these impossible challenges. So, let me just give you my thoughts on Death Road of Despair. Fuck it. I hate this. Fuck it. This is one of the hardest challenges I have ever tried to achieve. And your reward is barely worth it. You get a special ending, you get a special skin for your notebook, and 100 coins. Bite me, Danganronpa. I did so many attempts, so many hours worth of attempts, just trying to beat this thing. I wanted to beat this thing, to say that I could beat the impossible challenges set before me from Danganronpa V3. And you know what? I beat it. Yes, I have finished this. We'll talk about that here in a second. But not only that, once I beat it, got the special ending, got the rewards, awesome. I figured, cool, I got that one, I beat it with Kaede, I don't have to do it again, because I could just look up the other ending. No, I couldn't. It doesn't exist. I looked all over the internet, YouTube, the official wiki, trying to find the other ending where you have to play it with Shuichi, which is very hard by comparison to Kaede's. I couldn't find it. So, because it doesn't exist, I did what any sensible person would do. I beat it again, on a harder difficulty, just to say I did it, and now I have video evidence. This is one of the reasons these Danganronpa V3 bonuses took forever to make. Because after I had to do this twice, I nearly swore off Danganronpa forever. I hated playing this game after doing that. Piece that together with all the other side modes that take hours upon hours to complete, and I figured, you know what, maybe I should cancel all this. No. Years later, nut up or shut up, let's get it done. In fact, when you saw the Kaede social links back in 2021, I thought, I'm on the right track. I finally beat both of these impossible minigames. Cool. I'm on my way to finishing the rest of the bonuses. Nope, didn't happen. In fact, it took another 2 years, if my calculations are correct. So let's talk about this impossible minigame, and I'll tell you point for point on how to finish it, and what traps to avoid, and the shitty AI they programmed into this to make it as hard as possible. But if you want to see them without my commentary, I have linked both successful runs in the description as well. So, let's dance. So as you're starting up this escape, you need to know that all the characters have a special sliding mechanic. If you have too much momentum, you're going to be sliding all over the place. So here we go, our first trap. Jump over this because it drops down. Stand on this one because it just creates fire. Go ahead and trigger those bombs, but get hit by this bomb because it's a lot easier, trust me on this. Go ahead and jump over this, but be careful, if you hit your head too soon, you're going to fall into the pit. Jump over these things that can automatically capture your characters, and also watch out for all the bombs. And good luck with the tall characters because they will immediately get hit by all these, especially if your characters are jumping. You open up this gate, and all of a sudden, everybody's fine unless they're extremely tall because the explosions don't hit us for some reason, even those directly above our head. Go onto this platform, which speeds up as you're jumping into it. There are also bombs that drop from the ceiling. Do your best to get your characters trapped on that other side because they will try to jump over it and they will die. There is also a bottomless pit in that darkness that you can't see. So now that you know that a lot of these platforms will speed up as you jump above them, some of them don't because of course, know that if you are still having momentum, you will fall.
That's true.
So there were a few bombs that you can easily maneuver if you know how to slip and slide all over the place because we have WD-40 on the bottom of our shoes. Just avoid all these bombs. It's easy, forehead, just do it. There are 2 of those there, of course. So now you get to come here where jumping backwards is the easiest way to avoid all these bombs. This took a lot of precision. By the way, that blue platform eventually falls if you stay there too long. That's great. So now we have these different platforms. If you go up too high, you're going to be hit by all these gold bombs up in the air. All of these platforms speed up as you get into their general range. So keep that in mind. You are going to be... Okay, there we go. We're good. No, we're good. That one can actually fall into a pit and you can actually die. So over here, if you jump, you will die. So if you fell for the trap the first time, you're going to fall for it a second time. keep running. If you keep running, you can't be hit by any of these gates. And then we have a situation right here where if you jump on the bridge, you're going to be hit by the fire. You can need to jump over these bombs, which are extremely hard to jump over. And then eventually you can get here. Now, you need to use a bug that is in the game where if you constantly jump and continuously move, your characters will just, spawn right next to you. And this right here, the ending, is one of the biggest bastards I've ever experienced in my goddamn life. These characters are so brain dead and so stupid that if you do not corral them in one area and make it impossible for them to move, they will actually jump to their deaths if you lose a character. So now you have to deal with all these platforms going up and down of their own volition. That's great. You also have to deal with all these specialty... God damn it. And there's an example of a character just jumping into the pit because she thought it would be funny. That happens more often than you think. I have lost 5 to 6 characters during that scene and I fell through a platform. That's great! So anyway, as you're going through this, just, take deep breaths because you're almost there. Just know that you are right near the end, and if you fail, you will dishonor your family and your gamer skills. Congratulations, you suck. You avoid the bombs, you can take... Oh my god, they have splash damage. You can take as much time as you need to figure out where these bombs are coming from. They will continuously spawn and never stop. There is, I think, a couple bombs that actually despawned because I got far enough on the screen, so that's kind of cool. You can actually take advantage of how very poorly programmed this minigame is, and I fell through a platform again because it was too close to the floor! Too close to the kill plane. That's what we love to see around here. And by the way, all of these platforms have different speeds in which they go up and down, so that's fun. Be sure to avoid all the different bombs, be sure not to be hit by the splash damage, and now you have to push this. It is a lot easier with a few more extra characters in order to push that gate open. But just know that, oh, cool, they're glitched in the air, which means they won't jump into the pit. That's awesome! So we'll take advantage of that. Just know that if you had more characters over there, the gate would be pushed open so much faster, but since you can only get one character over here, it's nigh impossible to get this thing open as fast as you need it to be. So if you come here with only 2 characters, you're fucked. Just put it plain and simple. You are fucked when you get here. Oh, we're so close, Ryoma. Come on. Ah!
I'll do it.
Okay. So anyway, now we only have 3 characters left. We are running out of tries, and if you die, you go all the way back to the beginning, because of course, this is the impossible challenge. Monokuma doesn't want us to finish this. It's fine. It's fantastic. But getting here so many times after so many attempts is so disheartening. Especially when you die right at the end. I have never been so disheartened and nearly broke a controller for doing a mini-game that is made out to be frustrating. By design, this is one of the most frustrating challenges I have ever beaten. And I had to do it twice, because nobody else could be asked to do it on the internet. I totally understand, because you're down 2 students. I can't believe it. Alright, so Rantaro, you're my guy. You're the one who's gonna take us home. And by the way, there's like 5 or 6 other traps that I completely avoided because your movement has to be pretty perfect in order to avoid everything. Just keep that in mind as you're going through. So the movement you saw, it wasn't just me like banging my head against the controller, it was literally me avoiding traps. That's how many there are. Alright, Rantaro, you're my guy. Come on. Barely anymore. Yes! And now that we've beaten it, congratulations. Here you are. Clear. Everything hurts. That was impossible. I'll give it that. They certainly made it annoying enough to where, as soon as you beat it, you feel great. I'm going to leave you with the 2 endings between Kaede and Shuichi. Next time on Danganronpa V3, we are going to be taking a look at Ultimate Development Plan and play some board games. Because after this, I need some fun. Thank you for your patience, and I'll see you guys next time.
right!
Go ahead!
Because...
And another thing.
Could it be...
Huh? Dang it! Now then!
Hey!
Yeah, yeah! Hmm?
Huh? Why?
Oh? Oh? Welcome!
No.